here with Alternative Minds. I have a very special guest today. Not one, but two. First, I have Lindsley Register. You may have known her from The Walking Dead and House of Cards. She has the new movie SCORN. Tell the world how you're doing.
I'm doing well, I'd say. I mean, it's like a weird time, so everything's, for me, happening in waves. Like one day will be really, really difficult, and then the next day is, I mean, it's hard to find the right words. Like, it's just like all kinds of like weird new opportunities, a lot of time with myself, but a long way of saying I'm doing fine. Yeah.
That's really good because, as I was just saying before we went live, it's a war zone over here. I'm not sure how it's going on in California, unless you could tell me.
We have more than half of California's cases right here in LA County. So it's a pretty dire situation, even though I don't know about you, Jonathan, but like when I go on walks, I was starting to feel like things are getting better. Like I'm seeing more people out.
Yeah, it definitely feels like the situation is improving a lot. I think everyone is just kind of willing it to believe that, but the numbers are like it's actually getting worse.
Yeah.
So it's they just announced yesterday, I think, that they're probably going to extend the stay-at-home order for like another 3 months.
Unbelievable.
Like which at this point it's just kind of like, sure, let's do another 3 months. Why not? Let's do another 3 months. It is. It's been, I've been doing okay. A friend of mine put it pretty well. I asked him how he was doing. He says, well, it's grading on a curve, so like for this curve, I'm doing okay for quarantine, but compared to normal times, it's, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Also, you have the executive producer here, Jonathan. Tell the world how you are doing, other than the fact that we are all quarantined.
Other than the fact that we're quarantined, I'm doing okay. The sun is shining. There's an ice cream truck driving by my house right now somehow.
Really?
But every day it drives by every day. I've never seen anybody buy anything from it.
Oh my God!
Can hear it. I can hear it.
Yeah, can you hear it? Yeah. But yeah, I'm doing okay.
Alrighty. Now, I've seen the movie a few days ago, right after the Jeffrey Dean Morgan movie that he promoted on social media, and I have to say I love the film. I want to talk about how the production started, the scripting, and the casting. I guess, Lindsay, you could talk to me about that first, if you like.
Well, I think you dipped out right there at the end.
Oh, sorry.
A few of the things that you wanted to talk about.
Yes, the movie, the scripting, the casting, and everything else.
Yeah. Jonathan, you want to start?
Go ahead, John.
So it started with Lynn's approaching me and asking like, hey, let's make something. And we let's pool the resources that we have. This was 4 years ago. So we decided, hey, let's try to put together a feature, something that can show off her talents. Alexander McPherson, who is a co-star and also our friend, he is another one of the executive producers. We wanted something that could show off the acting, and then we also wanted something that that I could use as a sample for writing and directing.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started working on this script that, if you've seen the movie, the script we originally started working on was called Venus in the Brook. And at some point I realized I don't really want to make this movie. So I decided, what would it look like if, what would it look like if we got 3 just incredibly toxic people making this movie? What would that look like? And then that was where the idea for SCORN came from, was following these 3 people who are trying to put together a movie, and it all plays out in one drug-fueled night.
You want to add to that, Lindsay?
Yeah, I mean, Jonathan is telling 100% the truth. And I was like, when you do what we do, you know, there's that quote about like, painters need a brush, writers need a pen, but filmmakers need an army. It's really, really difficult to get an opportunity to do what we do with our medium very often. And as an actor, you're kind of faced with two choices. Sit around and wait for people to give you interesting parts, or go create interesting parts for yourself. And so, yeah, we were just finishing up school together. That's where he and I met. And Jonathan's the best writer that I know. And I practically begged him to write a great role for me to act. And I had just started filming season 1 of 6, which you can watch on Hulu. And had a little bit of savings, and we kind of just pooled our resources and made something that I was super excited to make. I love that our movie actually references the movie that we didn't make, Venus in the Brook. We actually talk about that. So clever.
Now, when you two were planning on the early stages for this film, since you said it was about 4 years ago, did you have time in between your filming of The Walking Dead to put in your thoughts on the script?
I hadn't been cast in The Walking Dead actually yet.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it was kind of wild. I don't think I even auditioned for The Walking Dead for the first time until long after we had finished filming. But it was really exciting because there's such a close-knit group of people in the Walking Dead family that I knew I was going to have a group of people to bring this project to. And it's been, incredible. The Walking Dead fans have shown us so much support. Been watching the film and sharing the film. It's exactly like the loving, supportive community that I knew it to be,
Now, where was this filmed at? Was this filmed in Los Angeles or in another location?
So we actually filmed it in Virginia,
wow.
Charlottesville, Virginia. It's set in Los Angeles. I was living in Los Angeles at the time, but the rest of the team was not. They were kind of sprinkled across the East Coast. And so we found this location, this house in Charlottesville, Virginia, that was just perfect. Lindsley found it, and we scouted it, and it was like, this is perfect. So so we filmed it in Virginia. Most of the movie takes place in that one location. We did have a few other locations that we also filmed in Virginia as well, but that was where principal photography took place.
Now, when I've checked out the film a few days ago, I noticed that Zoe was either not in a jealous mode, but in a worried mode that her man's going to leave her. What was the early process of adding to the script and the dialogue for both of these characters before the other guy, I think it was Maddock? Yes, it was Maddock.
Merrick.
Merrick, yeah. Yes, Merrick.
Yeah. That's all good.
Sorry. For
me, it kind of starts with the dialogue for me. That's really my process is, I don't know if it's the best process, but for me, the way it works is I write, I kind of hear what the characters are saying and write it down, and then kind of find the story from that way. So for me, it's I kind of get an idea of, a rough idea of who these people are, and then I just start writing dialogue. And so for this script, that was really where it started. And I wrote the first draft really quickly. I don't remember exactly how long it was, but it was a pretty quick process. And then from there, it was tweaking and adjusting and honing in and focusing it. But yeah, that's really kind of where it starts for me.
For Lindsay, how much input did you have on the character for Zoe?
I didn't really have any. And that's kind of how I prefer it. Like, it's, well, let me amend my statement.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you know, they say that the best, it's like you cast the best people and then like you let them do their thing. Like for me, I just want to act great scripts and just like learn my lines and justify every line and bring it to life. Like that's all I'm really interested in doing. I really enjoyed being part of the producing team for this, but as far as creating creating a character from scratch, as far as like storytelling in the medium of writing, it's not really my interest. And so I just want to surround myself with people that are like masters of their craft, and like Jonathan is a master of his craft, and like dialogue is his bread and butter. That's like my favorite part of working with Jonathan, is he always writes. My favorite part is the dialogue. So it's nice, you know, because I get to relax and do my job knowing that this is something I totally can and want to work with, you know, script wise.
Also,
very nice. That's very nice.
Lindsay, I also wanted to ask you, other than the 2 glasses that we've seen you toss to the wall, were there any other things that was broken in that house?
I think I damn near broke my hand when I smacked the counter. Like that wasn't scripted, but like I just like.
Yeah, that was, you smacked it so hard. Like
Jesus.
We smacked it so hard that you what? Say it.
Oh, I was just gonna say, just being in the room and hearing that sound of your hand hitting the counter was just like, you just felt it in your gut. You're like, oh God.
And like that sound of it hitting the counter like ended up being used like to make the cut in the edit of the trailer. Like it really hurt. But no, like nothing else was like harmed. And you know, it's like breakaway glass. So it's stuff that shatters really easily. But correct me if I'm wrong, but I only remember us having like a couple breakaway glasses, and so it was like really important that like baseball aim, like it's got to hit here and then it's got to hit there, and then like it has to be good so we can move on. So it was like
I don't remember the exact number of glasses that we had, but yeah, we were working on a let's say a limited budget, and so we'll go with that. So we had a very small number of those glasses, so it was very much, I think we had enough for maybe 2, maybe 3 takes, which was about all the like time that we had for anything
in general.
Just in general, it was like 3 takes was about all the time we had for everything. So so to kind of, I guess, jump into that aspect of it, I really have to hand it to our cast, to Lindsley and Alexander and Daniel, who plays Merrick. We were shooting an insane amount of material each day. We were shooting about, I think it was like 15 or 16 pages, which to put it into perspective, like on The Walking Dead, like how many pages would you normally shoot in a day?
Maybe like 6, maybe 6 to 8, maybe.
Yeah, and we were doing a lot and of just very dense dialogue, because the whole movie is very dialogue driven. And so, but our cast showed up on day 1 and they had it down. They had it so down, and it was really just a pleasure to watch them work. And you know, with the odd, you know, exception here and there, we didn't need more than 3 takes because they had it, you know.
Speaking about takes, there was many times where Alexander was riding the bike around the room, especially after he got high off the cocaine. I just thought to myself, was there any time, at any point in time, did he fall from the bike while y'all was shooting?
He's kind of a clumsy fella.
Did he fall? I feel like there's a time where he almost falls in a take, and we kept it in.
Where we're going into the other room.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think that was it. I don't remember him. I don't remember him crashing or falling any other time, other than that one little slip.
Yeah, there was this one time where he almost slipped. He's like, "Oh fuck," like or something, and it didn't get kept. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
It's like,
I think there's a time, because there was like, I look back on the blocking of this now, and it's like, it's insane, because there's a scene where he's riding the bike in circles, and then you and Daniel have to walk across, and he goes between the two of you. And I think that was the moment where I don't even remember if he was supposed to go between the two of you or if he just made that choice, but he tries to like slip between the two of you, and he like almost loses it. But it ended up being such a fun moment that we kept it in.
Another thing I like about the film was the use of the music for this film. I want to ask you, Lindsay, what kind of music are you into?
Oh God. Okay, I know everybody says this. But I listen to a lot of stuff. Like I really like old cinematic country music. I also am like a big theater nerd, so I secretively, I guess now not so secretively, listen to like Broadway musicals. I like hip hop. I like sad girl pop music, like indie music of like the early 2000s. I listen to a lot of different stuff, and I go through phases. But yeah, and contrary to Zoe, I actually really like the Velvet Underground, so I have no issue with Lou Reed's voice. I just want that to be clear.
How about you, Jonathan?
Let the record state.
Let the record.
Yeah, I mean, to echo what she just said of like, yeah, I like to listen to a lot of different stuff. Like I think it kind of comes and goes in waves. For me, when I was writing this, I was very much into kind of some classic alternative rock, like Velvet Underground and Lou Reed, and also kind of some like new wave bands like Joy Division, New Order, The Cure, that kind of stuff. These days, I don't know, man. This year, there's a band called Destroyer. It's really just kind of one guy, but he put out an album this year that I really like. What else have I been listening to? I don't know. I try to find something in at least every genre that I like. So, yeah.
Rage Against the Machine was going to come back on tour this year before this whole thing happened.
Oh,
they were supposed to headline Coachella, and I had tickets to Coachella for the first. I was never been before. It was the first time I was gonna go, and then it got canceled. So,
it wasn't meant to be.
It wasn't meant to be.
Not for you.
I knew. Well, that okay. Well, so that's what one of my favorite artists is, Frank Ocean, and that was the reason I was going. And I was like, I knew it was too good to actually see Frank Ocean perform. I knew it wasn't actually going to happen. So, oh man.
Now, I also want to bring up Alexander, because during this film, it was Zoe and it was Liam arguing in their scenes where they was acting, but Alexander wanted to, have them practically bring out their scenes into real life. What did you thought about that aspect when you was watching as a viewer?
Yeah, those to me are some of the most compelling scenes in the film, because the whole time you're watching it, you're like, damn, there's so much truth coming out in these moments, but it's all underneath the guise of we're acting, we're improvising. And I'm also kind of the kind of person where like you can find truth is spilling out all the time. Like, people make self-deprecating jokes about themselves. There's always like a hint of truth in those things that we like say. And so I love watching back like Zoe and Liam interacting and kind of being real with each other, maybe saying things that they weren't yet able to say to each other under the guise of improvising a scene.
But John, what did you thought as yourself when you was watching the film to see that three-way dynamic?
I think that the thing that I just really took away as a viewer was that kind of what like Lindsley was saying is that there's so much truth that can be said in through play, through the old adage of there's many a truth said in jest. And I think that was really kind of what I was going for, was at the time when I wrote this, I had been living in LA for about a year and a half. I was working as a production assistant on various shows and commercials and feature films, that kind of stuff. And so my whole world at the time was film sets. It was 12, 13, 14, 16 hours a day, 5 days a week on film sets. And so that was the water that I was swimming in. And there were just so many times on film sets where you just watch people express what they're really saying during like rehearsals, or when they're giving there's one instance in my mind, and I won't say what show it was or who the actor was or whatever, but the director gave a note and the actor made a joke and the whole crew laughed, but it was very clear that what he meant was fuck you, to the director. And it was, I don't know, there's something about that just I found so interesting. So I wanted to incorporate that into the story. So I think it comes through, and I am so just blown away by the performances that we got from all three of our actors.
I wanted to ask both of you, since Lindsley, you're actress, and John, you're director. What do you think is the biggest misconception of Hollywood?
Ooh, I love this question. I love talking about misconceptions.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna say and here, don't engrave this in stone, right? Because if we talk next week, my answer is probably gonna be different. But
no
I'm
worries.
gonna go with my gut on that. And I've said this before. I think the biggest misconception of Hollywood is that this town is full of shallow, selfish people. I think that Hollywood, while it does attract a certain kind of person who's maybe willing to make sacrifices in order to make their dream a reality, or maybe it's the kind of person who they've been told all growing up, oh, you're beautiful or you're talented, whatever. I still see Hollywood as a regular place, because when you live here, when you walk on the streets, when you go to movies here, when you go to the grocery store, you start to realize that people are people anywhere you go. That there are families, there's homeless, there's people really struggling, there's the really hot, successful people, there's the shallow people. And I really have met some of the most kind and interested people that I've ever met. So I think sometimes Hollywood and LA in general gets a bad rap. Now, I do think our movie shines a light on some of the trappings of Hollywood. And I love that. That's part of why I'm, on this team and telling this story. But that's definitely not all it is.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that. I think that, whatever you're looking for, that's what you're going to find. And if you approach any place, doesn't matter where it is, if you approach any place with the preconception that it's filled with shallow, awful, toxic people, you're going to find shallow, awful, toxic people. Are those people here in Hollywood? Absolutely. Are those people also in Kalamazoo, Michigan, or the tiny town in Kansas? Of course, you're going to find that anywhere. So yeah, I think that what you're looking for determines what experience you're going to have, especially in LA, because LA is like, it's such a huge city, both geographically and I don't even know what the word I'm looking for, but there's anything you want, you can find here. And so if you're looking for the good people and you're looking for the positive influences, you can find them. They're here. And I think the other big misconception I had about it was that I didn't realize how cold the nights were. It gets really cold at night. And
very you mean like temperature wise?
No, like literally, like I didn't realize that it got so cold at night when the sun goes down, it gets really cold. So no one ever told me that.
I believe that because I go to San Diego every year for a Comic-Con to cover it for part of the press. It does get cold at night at that time.
You got to bring a jacket with you. I love it though. I'm a light jacket guy. So like, you just throw it in the back seat of the car. You'll know you'll need it when the sun goes down.
Now the interesting twist that happened at the end at the movie, I digged it. I freaking love it. For everyone that's going to be watching, I know you're going to be spoiled. Too bad. But I'm going to talk about it.
Okay, yeah.
I'm going to talk about it. What was the thought process of coming with the twist at the end that she was the one who killed his ex-girlfriend?
I don't know. It was kind of it was one of those things, and like nothing sounds more like a douchey writer than saying this, but like it just kind of felt like the character, like that's just where it led to, like I started kind of like I said, I just started writing the dialogue, and as those dynamics kind of emerged, I thought this would be an interesting way to end it. So I went in that direction. I like stories that have those kind of twists, and when you realize at the end that the characters you maybe thought you had figured out, you really don't. So yeah, as far as specifically where it came from, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I wanted to say that, like, I kind of feel like Liam is successful professionally because he has put himself first, right? And at all costs, he's going to get what he wants. Like Zoe, it's like she just like set her eyes on Liam and like codependently and like very toxically linked to him and just decided that she was going to do anything, including murder people, including murder him in order to be with him, yeah, it's like, it's just kind of like, what do these characters want the most? It's like she wanted nothing more than him, sadly.
Yeah, the way that I kind of thought about it once I kind of structured it that way was that Merrick wants Zoe wants Liam, and Liam wants himself.
Yeah.
The three-way love triangle.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, Lizzie, before I get to the questions on Twitter, I got another one for myself. Was after your final day on The Walking Dead, a few weeks later, we found out that there was a cut scene involving yourself and Josh McDermott, which was a love scene. Can you walk me through of how that happened?
Who works with this strategy, who's now on Fear the Walking Dead. He is just like cracking up, like being really cryptic and telling me I'm gonna love the next episode. And like nobody would tell me what was in it until I got the script. It was like this really annoying joke that everybody was just getting a kick out of. And then I get an email from my agent that's like, hey, let's talk about like sex scenes and what you're comfortable with. And I was like, and they were like, for Walking Dead. And I was like, what? So yeah, there was a scene with Josh McDermott where I think that the world is ending, that we're all going to die, and I just like kind of come in and have my way with him, and he's just like very frightened by the whole thing and like timid, and they even like shot this like scene where he's like got like the blanket up around his like chest like the woman, like while I'm like getting dressed. It was really enjoyable and really just like funny. I did end up getting to see it through through our director for the episode, which was enjoyable. But it just like didn't fit with the episode. It was just like kind of like this like funny comedic random distraction, and it didn't push the story forward. So it got cut, and it's like it never happened. You know, it's like all the time you shoot this stuff, and then you never know what makes it into the edit, and so yeah.
Do you remember which episode this one was for?
Oh, what was the episode where we were stuck in this sanctuary and we were like burning up? We had like the heat. We were like burning up in the heat, and there were like walkers surrounding our. It was something like that.
I think that was season 8, I believe.
Was it 8, 9? Yeah, you're right. It was.
Yeah, it was season 8. It was season 8.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
That's when the episode when Negan came back at the end, was it?
Yep.
Yes, it was that one. From Mrs. G, do you ever think that Laura felt guilty or conflicted in her loyalties to Michonne's leadership? Whilst her old leader was imprisoned in the same community which she lived.
I don't think she did. I think that Laura was a soldier who followed orders really well. I think that's why she lasted as long as she did. And I think she saw Michonne as a great leader and probably a more effective leader than Negan. I kind of imagine that Laura ended up with Negan just to survive, not out of true like emotional loyalty.
Right.
So, yeah.
Let's see here. From Mr. Jobber, weird name. What are some hard scenes that you had to do while the movie is being made? I think he asked this to both you and Jonathan.
Just from a purely like technical standpoint, the scene with spoiler alert, blood. We didn't have like a double of Liam's suit. So again, these are things that this is not how you do it. Like
right.
Yeah. Well, there's a limited budget, so he had this beautiful crisp blue suit, and there's a scene where there's some blood, and so we scheduled that one like at the end, just in case anything happened. But just I think the whole set, just the one, it's a very intense scene emotionally, so it's difficult from that standpoint. But then also like, hey, Alexander, you gotta, I know you gotta like dig really deep for this scene and really give your all. Also, don't get any blood on the suit, because we can't replace it. So I think that one was definitely tricky. Lindsley, do you have any others?
I was gonna say that scene actually, because like I had to be at like the heightened, it's like the most heightened moment of the scene. I mean, I'm about to like end my life and murder another person, and it's like how much of my brain is being taken up by that, and then how it's like as an actor, it's like part of your brain is being taken up of like what's the context of the moment, but it's also being taken up by like where is the camera, am I like posturing myself correctly, it's like what's the moment before, where do we need to get to go next, and then like a big part of my brain during that scene was getting taken up of like, do not get blood on this carpet and do not get blood on Alexander's suit. And so it was really hard. I think I remember going outside multiple times trying to like shake off and get there. It definitely wasn't an easy scene.
Let's see here. From the freaking lunatic, good Twitter name. How long did it take for you to mentally transition from Laura to your character on this movie?
It didn't take any time to transition because Walking Dead Laura definitely came after Zoe. But I'm really thankful it happened that way, actually, because Zoe, she is a very vulnerable character to me. Even though she's dangerous, she's still very vulnerable and very fragile. And I didn't really get to showcase much of that in Laura. So I'm grateful it all came in that order, you know.
Let's see here. By a user named Green Tea 42. What's your take on the parallels between Scorn and the song Loch Lomond?
An old Scottish song called Loch Lomond. It's the one Scottish song that everyone knows. It's the you'll take the high road, I'll take the low road. The where that came from was when I was writing the character, I knew that Alexander does a phenomenal Scottish accent. So and I had seen him do that in something before and really liked it, and just really liked the way that his voice sounded. I just really liked the just kind of the like just watching him get in, like use that accent was just really compelling to me. So I wanted to make his character Scottish. And so, I chose this song that, I mean, we pointed out in the film that it's like, you know, the most stereotypical Scottish song you can think of. But there's, when I actually looked up the lyrics, because I think I had it in there just kind of as a placeholder, because I wanted him to be drunkenly singing a song. And then I looked up the lyrics to it. And, oh wow, there's actually a lot of thematic similarities here, and that it's a song about someone who's, you know, pining after their lost love, which, you know, Liam is doing. He had a girlfriend before this who he's still not over. He's still pining to be with her, and so it just kind of fit. And so I bumped it up from placeholder to the actual thing, and then we kept it in there. And then Jeremiah Lloyd Harmon, who's a friend of ours, made a really just kind of weird, ethereal version of the song. And I believe that's what plays over the credits.
Yes, it does. It does.
And so, so it was fun to see it all kind of come together in that way.
And by the way, you might have seen Jeremiah Lloyd Harmon on this past season of American Idol, which he just like killed. He's an incredible artist, an incredible artist.
Now, my final question for you, Lindsley, what are some of your future projects?
Okay, so as far as future projects, it's, you know, I was writing about this today. It's a really uncertain time in our industry right now. I think what we're going to see is a major shift in what kind of content is produced and how that content is delivered to people. I don't know what my next project is going to be. I don't know if it's going to be something that I write or something that I collaborate, again, that I'm just still paving my way by going and creating roles for myself. I don't know what it looks like, but I know that things are slow right now and are going to be slow for a while as far as creating new content, you know, because it's a liability for any of us to be on set together.
Right.
So I love what I do. And so, of course, like there are all kinds of cogs whirling in my brain. And I'm not going to do nothing. So I like have to just give that annoying cliche answer being like, stay updated with all my pages and I'll let you guys know as soon as I have something fun to share. But in the meantime, you guys got to enjoy SCORN.
Damn straight. You know what? Before we get out of here, I want to ask the both of you, what's going to be the first thing the both of you are going to do once this whole thing eases over?
Oh, man. That's a good question. You know, I'm going to throw a gathering of 10 or more people. You know, we're just going to get all in the same room. We're going to take our masks off and, you know, we're all going to share drinks. No, I really miss just going to a coffee shop, you know, and just like sitting in a coffee shop for like 2 hours, either writing or just hanging out with friends. Like that's something I really miss. That's probably going to be the first thing that I do.
I'm on the beach with a picnic with my friends. That is where you'll be able to find me after all this is over, because we're all, and by we I mean me, is starving for human contact and connection, and that sounds really lovely to me.
Me and my girlfriend, we're just gonna go to Madison Square Garden. I don't care what show it is. We were supposed to go to Las Vegas in August again for our 5th year anniversary. Got blown out the window.
Man.
Hugs.
Yeah, it exploded faster than all those houses in Alexandria a few years ago.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. But I'm happy to speak to both of you. Again, I love the film. I'm going to have my review up within the next few days. I hope you guys and girls, enjoy your night because over here it's pretty, oh damn, not a single sight of sun at all.
Oh wow. Yeah, thanks so much for checking out the film. And if we didn't already mention it, it's on Amazon Prime. So Julian, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you, Julian.
You're welcome. And again, enjoy your nights because it is going to be a long night.
Yeah. All right, watch out for snipers, folks.
Yes.
See you guys.
Later.